Hello and welcome to The Dirt and the Divine. I'm Krisha Young, your host, executive growth strategist, author, and advocate for living a fully aligned and unapologetic life. This podcast is built on the philosophy that every beautiful life has its roots in both the messy and the magnificent. Here we share raw and real stories from incredible individuals who faced life's toughest challenges head on, dug deep into their souls, and took radical personal responsibility for their lives. They didn't run or hide from their struggles. They explored their emotional landscapes, owned their experiences, and emerged authentically living in joy and alignment. Through these conversations, my hope is to inspire you to think, wow, if they went through all of that and found happiness, so can I. This space is about embracing the journey, the dirt, and the divine, because together they shape a life worth living. Please note that this podcast is for general discussion only and is not a substitute for therapy, legal, or professional advice. Now let's get started. So today we have another repeat guest, my good friend, Hannah Chapman. She's here and she brings peace to the confusion and chaos of business and personal finances as a certified financial planner, accredited portfolio management advisor, and chartered retirement planning counselor with over 18 years of experience in the financial sector. And as the founder of both X Squared Wealth Planning and Expansive CEO, she empowers visionary entrepreneurs to save wisely, spend joyfully, and support the causes that matter the most to them. Through bespoke financial planning and investment management and transformational human design and gene keys and prosperity coaching. She brings the intellect on board with transforming your money stories through logical and practical aspects of wealth building and business finance, and brings in, most importantly, the heart and soul through spiritual and intuitive aspects of human design, gene keys, inner child healing, and more. I'm so excited. In today's episode, we are going to help you learn how to create action and a momentum for your business and your life using human design and gene keys. Yay.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Krisha, for having me on again. It's been so much fun getting to explore all these different topics with you that we've kind of weaved our way through.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited that you're here. You're so smart and fun, and I really enjoy learning from you. And I always learn something, even though like I've been studying human design for years. I don't know a lot about gene keys, and I don't know a lot about how they play together. And you were saying that human design gives a lot of information, but then gene keys allows us to apply it, right?
Right.
Um, I think that's what I heard you say. So I would love for us to like just start to dive into this. And you and I both work with, really powerful people who want to do big things in the world, right? And but they're also humans. Like we're all humans at the end of the day. And that means we're flawed and we're imperfect and we have doubts and fears and worries. And sometimes we just don't know who we are and, whatever. And what I love about human design is that it really helps people just understand why they do what they do, like the blueprint for kind of who they are and how to make really effective decisions. Like it is the key to decision making, I think, is knowing your human design.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we talked a lot about that in the last episode. And but so Gene Keys is a whole new layer, and you're going to
hmm
talk to us about that. But first, I would love your definition of both what human design is and then what Gene Keys are. And then the stage is yours. Please enlighten us.
Yeah, yeah. I think you gave just a beautiful synopsis of human design right there, right? It's the roadmap of who you are, both in what you know about yourself, the personality side, right? The day you were born, how you came into this world, birth date, time, place, all of that, right? That's the personality side of our human design chart. And then 3 months prior to that, that's the spiritual imprint. That's when in so many traditions, that's when, they believe that the soul enters the body is 3 months prior to birth. And we can go, I love this example, even going back into just like medieval English time, right? When we talk about before we had ultrasounds, before we could look inside our wombs, literally, which is just a very recent new thing in life. What they had was called the quickening. And that's when the quickening is the first time a woman could feel a baby move in her womb. Like that was the okay, now, that's where the soul enters the body. And that's around 6 months gestation. And so this is so many traditions coming together and saying the same thing that, okay, this is the soul's imprint. And what does human design do? It shows us both of those sides. It shows us the personality side when we were born, and it shows us the spiritual imprint side of this is your soul's imprint. Right? This is your unconscious side. This is the material that you're maybe not aware of until after it happens. And so, a big piece of human design, I think, and when I'm working with people through that, is making the unconscious conscious. Doesn't mean you're going to be aware of it, right in the moment, but we bring awareness to all of the gifts that we have when we have our human design chart. And I think that's one of the other things that makes it special. Even I love astrology. I love looking through the natal chart and like understanding that deeply. I think that's very, very amazing information to integrate as well. But then again, human design has this other layer to it when we add in the spiritual imprint. So that's part of it for me with human design, right? We're making all of our unconscious, subconscious material into the conscious. We're becoming aware of who we are on so many different levels, so many different gifts. And when we add on the gene keys are this extra oomph, I find, in helping people actually know what to do. Like, what do we do with this information? Because human design, for most people that I have worked with, they learned about it briefly. They had maybe had a reading and had someone like give them just a whole ton of information in 60 minutes or 90 minutes, just like fire hose, and they don't know what to do with it. They're like, it
Mhm.
was great, it was enlightening, but it was too
No.
much. Now
Yeah.
what?
Hmm.
Yeah, like I don't know what to do with that. What's my next step? And the truth is, there's so much. It's such a complex. I don't want to say complicated, but it's a complex system. There's so much to it that it can be difficult to find information on your own. There are lots of people who are doing it. You can go on Instagram and find some people who are putting out some good information. Lots of blogs now, lots of Substacks, lots of podcasts. There's so much information out there. But once again, if you're a person who is prone to like information overload, it can kind of get you into analysis paralysis.
That's true. I like to apply it to people too, like because for that same reason. I've heard a lot of people when they come to readings, they're like, yeah, they're almost like dismissive over it because it was like, yeah, I got it, but I don't know how to use it. Like it's
Right.
almost like I don't remember or I don't know what I am or whatever. And it's like, wow, how could like how are you not and completely and utterly fascinated by this? Let me do that for you. Let me help you see how this is used in your life. And
Right.
then I find that people are like, oh, I get it now. I can see how this applies to my relationships. I can see
Right.
how this applies to my work. I can see how this applies to my purpose. That's a big factor.
Yeah,
It's one thing like,
absolutely.
oh, I'm a generator. Okay, now what?
Right. Yeah. Like I don't know what that means.
Right.
And we've explored a lot of that too, right? And it's, a piece of it is knowing yourself, but the other side of it, the flip side of every coin, right, is understanding others, right? So understanding yourself and understanding others as well. So Gene Keys
Mhm.
is the shortest explanation is that it's a modern re-knowing of the Chinese I Ching, the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching. So when you look at your human design chart, there's numbers 1 through 64. And I can even pull mine up if you'd like. And we can just so if anyone's watching on YouTube,
Yeah.
they can see exactly what we're talking about. I'm going to share mine. Um, there's me. That's my birth information. It's all there. It's fine. You'll see every center has different numbers.
Let's get this a little bigger here.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
There. Okay.
Okay, so we've got all these different numbers, and each one,
Continue just before you continue. Hang on. For
yeah,
anybody who's watching, and if you're listening, I encourage you to go over to YouTube afterwards or switch over right now. The Dirt and the Divine on YouTube. Um, so you can pause and go do that. Hi. um, this is what's called a body graph. So this is a human design body graph that you're looking at right now. And what Hannah's talking about in the body graph are the gene key numbers, which are these little numbers that appear in just so some language, right? So we've got a little bit
right.
of language on what everybody's looking at here. These triangles and squares and things like that, those are called centers. The lines, all that you see, are called channels. The numbers are called gates. And then the two things on the side, you'll see that they correspond to different like planets like Moon and Mercury and Venus and Sun and North Node and South Node and all that kind of stuff. So that's where it brings in the astrology. And then each, if you look like at the two O's at the top there on the left and the right, the red and the black, there's like 4.6 on the right, 8.2 on the left. Those are your gene keys. Those are your, or AKA gates in human design. They're called gates, or gene keys is what Hannah's talking about. And that corresponds to somewhere on the body. So where's 4.6? Where, oh, it's in
Yeah.
your ajna. That's called your
Hmm.
ajna, and it's right there. So that's just to give you guys a little bit of a high level overview of what you're looking at.
Perfect.
All right.
Yes. Yeah. And the ajna is also, it translates over to the third eye when we think of our chakras. So
Yeah.
that's where the mind, the ajna, the third
Yeah.
eye.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so
yes.
continue now.
So, yes. So the gene keys are a modern reknowing of the Chinese I Ching. And I'd like to say it that way because Richard Rudd, who is the person who has channeled all of this information, he learned human design first.
Oh,
So
I didn't know
he went through took years studying human design, was very um, drawn to it, intrigued by it, and then started having these downloads of the gene keys, um, really opening up the Chinese I Ching. So if you look at the hexagrams of the I Ching, they're pretty short. So if people aren't familiar with the Chinese I Ching, they're based on hexagrams. The way they use it, it's a divination tool in China. They basically, have coins. They toss their coins, and what it lands on, those are the numbers that you're going to focus on for whatever reason. For they came up for a reason. So it's a divination tool in that way, right? So if I were to toss my dice or my coins or whatever I'm using, and 20 came up on the I Ching, all right, I'm going to go study that. I'm going to go see what's happening, with that. Why my soul is saying I need to find out more about number 20 in the I Ching. Well, Richard Rudd took that information and expanded on it. And the way that he expanded on it, I'm going to show a different chart. So this is my human design body graph. And then the system that I use has all of this all in one. So this here is called my gene key map. You can also go to the Gene Keys website, just search genekeys.com. You can get a free chart there as well. I encourage everyone to go and do that also. So if you need to pause and go to search Gene Keys on Google, go to the website, get your free chart. You can go do that and then come on back.
Yep.
Uh,
Follow
yeah. So, yeah. So this, what he did was he started from that basis of human design expanded on the I Ching in a new and beautiful way, and created a map of how these things, how, kind of our, what do I want to
Inter-
say? Our key pathways
uh-huh.
is the way that he created this. So
I'm
the
translating that to interplay.
yeah, yes, yeah, because it's not all of them. You'll notice it's not, on the
Yeah.
human design chart, we have 13 on each side, so there's 26 total placements.
Mhm.
This gene key map is only 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, only 11 of the
Mm,
26. So
interesting.
it's not everything. And I also want to say, because I've had people ask me this, they're like, well, what about all of the other ones? It seems like they're important. There's stuff on here that, if I'm coaching someone, we talk about, for instance, your Mercury gates. Sometimes I help people understand their Mercury gates because that's
Mhm. Yeah.
their message to the world, their marketing message, but it's
Mhm.
not here on the gene key map. And I
Mm.
said, Richard is actually working on that. He's, he's
They're upgrading the system.
right. He's expanding. He's expanding upon it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's so beautiful how we have these things that are like a new way of understanding ancient wisdom,
Mm.
and a way to apply it today in today's world is the way that it feels to me.
Mhm. We've been humans for a very long time.
Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
like, ancient wisdom is still, even though like we didn't have chat GPT all those years ago, like we still had ancient wisdom. We still were humans. We just,
Mhm.
like, and we've been learning about ourselves for forever,
Yeah.
and we're just going to continue coming up with more and more and more tools and systems on how to understand ourselves. Like, this is just so fascinating to me.
I know, I love it. And my synthesizing brain loves it so much as well. It's like, oh, they fit so well together. And this is
Right.
part of why I like it. So
Yeah.
when you go to do your gene keys and you pull your gene key map, you'll see that it's got 3 words. And so this is the key for every single gene key. It comes with a shadow, a gift, and a city. And the city is spelled Siddhi. If you've ever studied yoga, or Eastern traditions, it is similar. Like the city is the same concept as in those other traditions, that it is transcendence, it is enlightenment.
Yeah.
It is like the high. You're pretty much not a human anymore
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah.
if you reach the city. So, and in the gene key map, it's the third, it's the highest one, right? So for me, my life's work, the highest expression is forgiveness. My vocation, the highest expression is beauty. My pearl, the highest expression is being, right? I'm not going to be in those things all of the time, or even much of the time.
Yeah,
And but that's it's like the horizon line that we're moving towards.
yeah.
So again, if we look at mine, and I have a really, really powerful story that I can share, with this as well. My life's work, which is this top sphere. This is where you start from. This is where you kind of like start learning the gene keys. It correlates to your conscious sun. So the on the human design chart, the very top box in black is your conscious sun. That's your life's work. The shadow is intolerance. The gift is understanding. The city is forgiveness. And so it translates, I use them together because the other half, the human design half, the gate 4, part of its expression is called the gate of youthful folly. The gate of youthful folly. The gate of you're trying stuff and sometimes you mess it up, right?
Y-
That's you don't know any better. In your innocence, you're just going out and trying stuff and sometimes it doesn't work out. And you learn from that. Why does this matter? Why does this correlate? Because intolerance does not allow for youthful folly.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. Intolerance, the shadow says, I'm not allowed to make a mistake.
Hmm.
And so I'm holding myself to this huge standard. And so I'm going to hold you to that same standard. No
Mm,
one's allowed to make a mistake.
yeah, right. Hmm.
intolerance really, really speaks to the perfectionism that I experienced all growing up, right?
Mhm.
There are lots of ways that that showed up in my life, but also it's my freaking life's work to understand how to move from intolerance to understanding.
This is so fascinating. So when you say life's work, can you define that a little bit more?
Yes. So in Gene Keys, I don't have my books around. Normally, I have literally my stacks of books, like literally at hand. So forgive me. I don't have those to show you. The life's work literally has a meaning in human design, or in Gene Keys, excuse me, that this is what you are here to experience. And not only what you're here to experience, but what you are here to express outward into the world. This, you'll see on the chart, you'll see that it's half green and half blue. The green half is life's work, and that goes through the green sequence. You can follow the colors. And then when you come back around through the chart, it turns blue. And now it's on this side, on the blue side, it's the brand. It's the brand of your pearl sequence. We don't have to get that detailed into it. Just know that there's a reason why it's green and blue. What is a brand? I like using this one because I think this illustrates it more. When we think from a business perspective and from a marketing perspective, marketing is what you say about yourself. Branding is what others say about you, right?
Yeah.
That's the wisdom of branding. Like you, when you're marketing yourself, you're talking about yourself, right? And you're putting it out there, but that doesn't mean that's what the people that are receiving you are seeing. So your brand is what others are receiving from you, what others are, again, the light you're shining out, they're receiving it and they're saying, "Oh, this is what I know about you." So
Hmm.
your life's work then, your conscious sun in human design, we're going to tie it all together. This is the sun is 70% of the energy in your chart. So this is a very, very important energy to understand. This is like your most typical expression of you in your whole life that you are going to experience, that other people are going to experience of you as well. Does that help? Or is that too?
Yeah, it does. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
I have things to say about it too. Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, okay. Um, so I'm just processing and assimilating and pausing. Because when we hear like life's work, where I want to go with this a little bit for a little second is it not necessarily meaning your job.
Right.
It can, it can. You and me have followed the path of our life's work being a way to earn income,
Right.
but not everybody does that, like linearly, right? um and I think that you can show up this way no matter what your job is. This is like your life's work, as in like if we look at our soul having an assignment
Yes,
of something
exactly.
to learn and something to grow and something to inspire people with. And what I'm curious about is if you are really great at teaching people how to forgive, if this is something that is so natural and innate for you that maybe you're hard on yourself with the intolerance and you're hard on others, like maybe you do have that like intolerance there, especially if you're tired or under resourced or something, you know what I mean? Like that's when we get into our shadow, that's when we get into our unconscious material. And I want to loop back on unconscious of what we talked about at the very beginning for a quick second, but um that intolerance, like we're stressed out, like I don't have any patience for you. But then I'm curious if you then, when you're rested and you're feeling really good and you're happy, if forgiveness is just something that you just understand and you're
Mhm.
able to like just get. does that
Yeah.
does that sound true for you? Does that feel true for you?
It's something, so on my pathway, it is it is something that has come up many, many times
Yeah. Okay.
in like learning how to forgive what seems potentially unforgivable.
Mm.
Like like hard stuff,
Yeah.
like childhood sexual abuse and
Oh, wow.
but
Yeah.
like really like hard topics,
Mhm.
right? And um those things, when you
Mhm.
start to like, that is a big trigger, right? For a lot of people.
Uh-huh.
Like, what do you mean? What do you mean forgive? Like, absolutely not. Absolutely never.
Yeah.
And I can see that. I can understand.
Mhm.
I can 100% understand where someone is coming from, where they're not ready. And the deeper I go, the more I practice, the more I've understood that it's about yourself,
Mm.
forgiving yourself first, always. Because when we hold on to things, there's a piece of it is that we're holding on to, there's something that we did wrong. Even if you reject it out of hand, and that's okay. If you're hearing this and you're rejecting it out of hand right now, totally fine. Be with whatever experience you're having. But when there's an opening of seeing, right, like seeing where you feel like you caused
Mm.
some of the traumas that you have experienced, that's the place where it's okay. You have to, I'm saying have to, you don't have to do anything. There's an invitation when you start to feel the opening, there's an invitation to forgive yourself,
Mm.
to be able to let things go, and then to forgive another. I
Mhm.
do not believe in forgive and forget.
Mm.
I do not. I think that is, I think that's a way to dismiss and perpetuate abuse when
Mhm.
it's like, oh, we forgive and forget. Like, no, that's how you perpetuate generational cycles of abuse,
Yeah.
is by forgetting, because forgetting means, I put that in quotes,
Yeah.
sweeping things under the rug
Mm.
that need to be brought to light.
Yeah.
So I do have very complex, nuanced feelings and perceptions around forgiveness. But to your point, I do recognize very clearly when someone is holding on to unforgiveness, that's coming around, right, that's acting as almost a chain that's binding, right, and like keeping them from being their fullest expression, whether it's a parent or an old employer or a bully or a romantic relationship, right? When we hold on to unforgiveness with everything we have,
Mhm. Yeah.
it does limit your expression of
Mhm.
joy when
Mhm.
we also hold on tightly. Because, and this is the piece, we all hold all of these energies. Every one of the 64 hexagrams we have in our chart, we don't have everything activated, but that still lives in us, every single one of us.
Mhm.
So whenever you're in unforgiveness, you are also like, this same gene key is active in you in some way. Intolerance is active where unforgiveness is present. It
Mhm.
has to be. That's the stack.
Yeah.
Intolerance to understanding to forgiveness. So
Mhm.
we all have this. So when the fact that it's my life's work
Mhm.
means that I have had so many examples
Mhm.
of, again, for myself and from others, right? Like, it's both. It's intolerance of the self, it's intolerance of others. Um, I'll give a little snippet of how the gene keys work. This challenge, it says challenge right here, from this green circle down to the evolution circle, life's work to evolution. This is your pathway of challenge. This is what you will continue, like it's your whetstone that you will sharpen yourself against over and over. Mine is intolerance is the shadow of number 4. Reaction is the shadow of number 49. So my challenge is that when I am intolerant, I will be in reaction. When I am intolerant of something, I will react to it instead of being able to respond from an emotionally mature place.
Right.
And so when I notice that happening, that is my cue, like, oh, there's something here. There's the
Mhm.
big orange waving flag or red flag. Like, hey, something to look at. Something to look at. Let's take a pause.
Mhm.
What's
Wow.
coming up for you?
No, I'm just like intently listening. Um, and I'm just going to move that over so your birth data is not there. Um, yeah, and you'd said the word understanding, which is really cool actually, because like that is it's in here, and an understanding someone does really relay to being able to eventually forgive. And I like what you said about not forgetting, because I'm obviously a huge advocate for boundaries
Mhm.
and wrote a whole book called The Gracious No. And it's all about ending that disease to please, ending those patterns, right? And just like having all of those awarenesses and being able to get into forgiveness doesn't mean that you're allowing for somebody to continue to take advantage of you or to continue to be in those pleasing patterns. Like you still need to have really strong boundaries over whoever or whatever it was. So it's like, yeah, I forgive you so that I can let this go and it not be like an anchor, like weight, an energetic anchor weighing me down anymore, but like, yeah, no, you don't get access to me no more.
Right.
you know
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Um,
Yes. Yeah.
that's so fun. Do you have my chart? I think you
I
do.
I do. I
I'm so
absolutely do.
curious. Okay, the I'm so curious about my life's work because it's the one sort of like gate or whatever that I don't really understand. I don't really resonate with as much as I do with all the others. And
Interesting.
so I'm really curious. I would love to see you and I want to see you read someone else's, how
Mm,
you do that, right? So that people can get an even more depth of how all of this fits together. Because it's one thing when you're reading your own, you understand it, you understand yourself, right? But it's another
right.
thing when you're reading somebody else's, and then I can be like, oh my God, that's like insight to me. So we can show it kind of like in action, because it is one that I'm not clear about, and how Gene Keys like fits into all of that. I think you do have one because you've given it to me before.
Yes, I do. Um, and do you want to riff for like 1 minute and I
Okay.
will go grab my book. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Okay.
I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you what yours is,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna disappear for 30
Or
seconds
okay.
so that you can then talk about what this means to you. So your
Yeah.
life's work. Do you want
Uh-huh.
me to show your chart? It has your birth
Sure.
info.
Yeah. 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 Share your
Define. Okay.
screen, and then I can kind of fly around in there for a second.
Okay. Perfect. So,
Yay.
so your life's work is 9.1. We didn't even
Yeah.
talk about the points. Like my point 6 is super important. Your point 1, super important.
Okay.
But just for the sake of like understanding what we're talking about
Mhm.
generally, right? The 9 tells us your shadow of your life's work is inertia. Your gift is determination. Your city is invincibility. And then let's like we'll do the challenge, the path of
Yeah.
challenge, right? Is that when you're in inertia, which is stuck,
Yeah.
everything is stuck, nothing is moving, right?
Uh,
Inertia.
okay.
The challenge is that you're going to feel indifference,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Right. So there, riff on that for like a hot
Okay.
second,
Yeah.
and I will be right back.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, I mean, isn't Hannah like brilliant? I really adore this woman. Known her for several years now. We've never met in person. We've just been in the same communities for a really long time. And what I actually really love about all of this, for you, and for myself, is that it really does help us be better parents, better humans, better workers, run more effective businesses, and like just show up in a way that really feels super authentic, and not to use like a silly little buzzword authentic, but it's true. When you like, I'm such an advocate for authenticity and for being who you really truly are, because it's only in that you can actually find peace and happiness, because otherwise you're being performative and you're being somebody that you're not, and it's stressful and right. So that's why I love using these tools, because it really does help you go, oh my god, yeah, that's me, and then you can be more of you. And especially when we've experienced like, childhood wounding or criticism, or like I've been criticized my whole friggin' life for who I am. Like so many people have been like intimidated or threatened or shot me down or said mean things about me over and over and over again. And now I really don't give a shit, because I know who I am and I know my authenticity, and I'm forever still learning more and more and more and more. Hi, welcome back.
Hi.
Hello.
Beautiful. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Okay. So like, yeah, this is really interesting. So inertia and indifference. I literally have just come out of a cycle of feeling inertia. Like I've been feeling stuck. I've been feeling like, and we haven't even talked about, we did in a previous episode, I think, where we were talking about emotional authority and open sacral, and our emotional center, and that I am emotionally defined. And sometimes what happens with me in emotional definition, um how I experience it is it's very black or white. It's like I'm on or off in that.
Mm,
And it's almost impossible for me to get out of an emotional space that I'm in. So if I'm in like joy, I'm in joy. You can't shake that shit. But if I'm in the low part of my wave, I'm in the low part of my wave, and you can't shake that shit. Like no matter what I do, I can do everything. I can do every single tool, everything. And if I'm in the low of my wave, I'm in the low of my wave. And the only thing that actually works with it is just letting that be there. you
mm-hmm.
Letting, it's like the a roller coaster, letting it go all the way to the bottom so that I can shoot back up to the top. So for the last couple of months, I've been feeling like in this low, and definitely feeling like not, I've been like in bed and like kind of like, what the hell? Like I don't want to do anything. And it's not depression, because I'm not depressed. But it could be seen as that, but it's not. Like it's not. I'm still happy, joyful, like whatever. But I have this inertia. Like it is. And I just, the reason why I'm so like animated about it is because I literally just came off the back of it. And now, and it was I indifferent? Maybe. Well, I'm curious how indifference shows up. Like, okay, so go for it. Now I'm like, I don't know myself no more.
Right? Well, and that's the beauty. As you're talking, I'm looking because we've got your little human design chart in the corner here too, right? Your emotional, what makes you emotionally defined is your gate, your channel 3740, right? Those are the two gates that connect, that
Yeah,
make your channel, that defines your emotionality, and it's fully unconscious. So
right.
that's super interesting to me, right? That you're like, I can't conscious myself, I can't logic myself out of it. It's unconscious for you, babe. You're not going to.
Oh my God, thank you.
Right? This is that spiritual imprint. Like it's different.
Yeah.
It's more in the body. You're so
Uh,
good. Right? When you get into your body, when you dance, when you like all of that, like you're doing it. You're
yeah.
doing things, right, that are right for you. But yeah, that channel is fully unconscious for you, and
Uh-huh.
it's the only emotional definition you have.
Yeah. It's
So
true.
yeah.
Yeah. And and just as a little quick aside, this one here is like it's like all about this gate of aloneness. This is gated community. It's really like this contradiction as well. It's like, I need everybody around me all the time, but leave me the frick alone. It's like both of them are true at the same time. Like, it's like, don't go away, but go away.
Right? Isn't it so comforting to have all of your contradictions just spelled out for you? You're like, yes, that's what I feel.
Yes. And I can't help it.
Right? It's part of you. So what I went and grabbed was all of my books. But this one, The Gene Keys, Embracing Your Higher Purpose by Richard Rudd. This is like the encyclopedia,
Yeah, I have
basically.
that.
So beautiful. So then what you would do with that is you would go to number 9. You don't need to read the whole thing. Some people do,
Uh-huh.
but I don't like that. This is my manifesting generatorness coming online so strongly. Is like, I don't want to read this front to back. That's not useful to me.
Right.
What's useful to me is look at mine and go to mine, right? And then you'll
Yeah.
see I've got little tabs everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I've looked at these for a lot of people.
Uh-huh.
So the 9th, then you would go to the 9th gene key, and
Uh-huh.
then you've got, gosh, how many pages is this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full pages of this book is dedicated to the 9th gene key. And so it's going to really spell out your shadows, your gifts, and then the city. Here's the other piece of the shadow that is really, really powerful. If you get this book and if you download your chart, you get the book. Every shadow has a reactive and a repressive nature. So that shadow of inertia, depending on your upbringing, your socioeconomics, background, your experience of school, literally what I'm talking about is your epigenetics.
Okay, yeah.
So depending on how your nature and your nurture together, that's going to really color whether you tend to repress or react.
Mm,
The repressive expression is usually turning in on yourself, right? Blaming yourself, turning it in. I'm the one who's doing everything wrong. This is all about me. And you shut down. The reactive side is usually the blaming side, like
mm,
everyone else's problem, like this is your fault. Who can I blame? Where can my anger be directed at?
mm.
When
Okay,
we
I'm definitely more reactive.
so when
I
we read
used to be repressive. Like I used to blame myself and self-flagellate and think I was like the worst person on the planet. I thought like everything was my fault. Like, but then I healed the inner bully towards myself. So I
mm,
don't think poorly about myself anymore at all, but I still have reactivity. And where it comes out is in my most intimate relationship with my partner. That is like literally
mm.
the only place that that shows up for me is in that relationship. Thank you, Cameron, for being such a mirror for me in that. Poor guy.
Right. Yeah.
He's enduring
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and I would say that's for all of us. Even for me, with me, um, I can source so much understanding for others.
Mhm.
I can like it's my go-to, right? Like I understand. I get it. And where the intolerance comes up the most still is with myself, with my children, with my
Mhm.
husband, right? Those closest relationships
Yeah.
where
Right.
I mean also we're tested just constantly,
Yeah.
right?
That's true.
Um
Yes.
there's more opportunity.
Yeah.
Uh, but yes, yeah, that is totally normal. So if we look at your 9th gene key, so the thing that I would add to this chart, if you get it and you print it out for yourself, um, are these repressive and reactive traits. So the 9th gene key, the keynote is called the power of the infinitesimal. So the power of the infinitesimal, the
Okay.
little bit,
Infinite.
right?
Infinite. Infinite. Yeah. I believe in infinity. I believe that everything is infinite. Infinite. I believe in more, 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 more. Yes, yes, yes. That is very, very deep for me.
And the full word is the infinitesimal, which is the small. And so
Oh,
this is
interesting how I
right.
don't with it that.
Yeah, like go all the way down, like the atom, right? So the body, the cell, the atom, the nucleus,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Like let's go down, down, down.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
because in the I Ching, and so this is in here as well, the I Ching title is the taming power of the small.
Right.
Right. So
Okay.
that's what it's also, the gate is called in human design, the taming power of the small.
That's great. Yeah.
The The taming power of the small refers to the human tendency to become submerged in unnecessary and irrelevant details.
Uh-huh.
So this is in your sacral, number 9, pointing
Yeah.
down to the root,
Yeah.
right? Has so much to do with details and focus.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'm really great at focus. And I'm really great at helping manifesting generators focus.
it's a superpower because you
It
have that
really is.
that channel.
I'm really
So
great at
yes,
helping you guys like, wait. What's the one thing today?
focus. Bring it in. Bring it in.
While celebrating all of it.
Yes. Like, oh, I have so many things.
Yeah.
So most human beings live lives where they simply get by, lives in which they become victims of all the details around them. At the higher frequencies, you tame the small by applying your energy only to that which serves your higher purpose. Exactly what you just said. At the shadow frequency, however, the details tame you, sapping your life force, robbing you of your enthusiasm, and
Mm,
eventually pulling you into the common human state of inertia and indifference.
hmm
It goes
Yeah.
on. It goes on to say the Chinese sage Lao Tzu uttered the famous statement: "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step." Although a more accurate translation might be, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath one's feet."
Mm,
The piece of timeless wisdom concerns focusing on what lies in front of you rather than concerning yourself with where the future might or might not take you. The shadow is about where you place that focus, and primarily through your daily activity rather than in your mind, right? So, like movement, again, sacral to root, this is movement, what you're doing,
mm,
rather than spinning around in your mind.
yeah.
There is something very magical about this ninth gene key. It holds one of the greatest of all secrets: how to stop your mind from undermining your natural
Mm,
destiny. So, girl, this is your conscious sun. This is your life's work. This is your most powerful, potent energy in your whole chart. What people see from you, what you are here to help them do in a big way, is to see the journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath one's feet, and that it matters what actions you take towards that destination. We don't spin in our mind around all the possibilities. We don't get lost in the details. We don't see everything. You focus. You focus on the next correct step and you take it. That moves you out of inertia. Because when you're focused, we got all the details going,
Yeah.
that's where the inertia sets in.
I would say this is highly accurate. Highly accurate. Um, yeah, I'm really great at helping people get out of their heads. Really great. They're and meaning the spinning,
Mm-hmm.
the too many ideas, the what ifs, like the freaky outiness of the mind. I'm really great at like hearing and assimilating and sorting through and just being like, "Brrr, that's your first step."
Yeah.
In seconds, I'm like, that's your first step. You don't need to do all this other shit. Just focus on this one thing. I say that all the time to everybody. You don't need all of that. I was like, that's probably should be my logo or my tagline. You don't need all that. Just
You don't
focus.
need all that.
Yeah. I would have to say if we recorded every one of my conversations, coaching conversations, everything with everybody in my life, you don't need all of that. You only need to focus on this. I would have to say that's
Yes.
probably the most common thing that I say. And then what got what gets me through these lower, like lower parts, or I don't even know, should we call it low, like whatever. um
The valley.
the valley, yeah, the valley, which is interesting because I do have valleys.
Mm,
um is I do just take one step, one step, one step, one step. And one of the big things that I do help my clients with too is presence and mindfulness, presence and mindfulness, presence and mindfulness. And in that, I'm very reverent. I'm very reverent, like, oh my God, look at the mountain, like, oh my God, look at the sun, like, oh my God, it's like presence, presence, presence. I'm very present, I'm very aware, I'm very astute as to like everything that's going on around me all the time.
yeah.
And when I get unconscious, when I get like too in my head or whatever, that's when I stop being present. And then I'm inertia. I'm like, not, I don't feel like I'm in my purpose. So yeah, like this is so accurate. And what I have been doing over the last couple of months is still, I actually haven't been just sitting like watching TV. I've been sitting and like writing, like editing my book, like putting my podcast out there. Like I've been doing like all of the steps. I
Right.
think what I feel is missing, or why I feel something is wrong, which is interesting, is that I don't like that 16, that gate 16 is enthusiasm, right? And it's
Yeah.
throat, and it's like, like excitement and that. And so I guess when I'm in that, what do we call it? The
The valley. When you're
the
in the
valley.
valley.
The valley. I'm gonna write that down. Valley. Because see how unconscious this is? I don't even have language for it. Um, when I'm in the valley, I'm not like enthusiastic. I'm
Yeah.
not enthusiastic, and the absence of enthusiasm makes me feel like something's wrong, because I'm not being like, wah, about whatever it is that I'm doing. I'm more in that valley. I'm more in the focus of it, I guess. And
Yeah.
there must be a part of me that's making this wrong, because it's such an opposite. And right now I'm in the enthusiasm. Like I feel like so like outbursty and like excited. Like I spent the last 4 days like dancing, like going out dancing and just like expressing myself, listening to like really great music and moving my body so much. And so now I feel very, very, very determined
Hmm.
and versatile. Yeah, like I'm looking at these two connections here, I feel
Hmm.
determined, and I feel versatile because I have, like, even just this morning I wrote something that I want to share on social about the diversity of who I am. And like I consider myself sort of like a diamond, right? Like there's all these facets, right? Like even this looks is
Yeah.
shaped like a diamond, right? We are facets, and we're multifaceted. And I'm also open identity, so I have many, 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 many identities, and I show up as many different ways, and you never know what to expect with me. People don't ever recognize me. It depends on who I'm with, what I'm wearing or whatever. It takes a few times for people to be like, "Oh, it's you." And it's like, "Yeah, it's me. I look the
So
same, but I
funny.
don't appear the same." um yeah, and so like all of that like shininess, gets to come through in that versatility of like, hey, I have this talent, this talent, this talent, this talent, and I'm a mom and I love drum and bass music, and but I'm also like an executive growth strategist, and I can help your business generate money. Like I've generated $3.6 million for people over the years. Oh, and also I'm a mindset coach and an emotional like wizard, and like it's like all of
Yeah.
that. So there is a versatility to that when I'm feeling determined to share, when I move through that inertia and indifference into out of the valley and into what the top of the mountain.
Yeah. Or even through the determination makes me think of switchbacks.
Okay.
Right. That
Mhm.
you're because when
Yeah.
you'll see the top, like I see the top, and then you're
Yeah.
like, and your switchback, it's steep. So your switchback is taking you
Yeah.
all the way across and then all the
Right.
way back. And then you're like, okay, there's
Yeah.
more switchbacks. But we're gonna get there. We're
Yeah,
gonna next step.
for sure.
Another beautiful, beautiful thing for you is that 16, it's your evolution. So it's your pathway of challenge. It's also your vocation. And
Ooh,
so it's also your pathway of service.
tell me more about that.
Oh my gosh. I love parsing out Gene Keys maps and like seeing, because this means 16 is so important for you, right? 16 is very, very powerful for you in two ways. It's your evolution. So again, that challenge means you will experience that over and over. You will find so many opportunities to move through inertia and indifference over and over and over again.
Can I just
And
say one quick thing?
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
before we go on with that one, please don't lose your thought. The the detail is what I'm just thinking is what gets me into trouble. It's what gets me into the valley. When I focus too much on the detail of
Yeah.
what's not working, that's it. And it's like I hyper focus on what's not working, which could be construed as the negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in the detail of this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working. And this is a superpower when it comes to me working with individuals and with businesses, because I can easily, like, not even like blink an eye, I can see what's not working. I can see the shadow. I can see what's quote unquote wrong, or not that it's ever wrong, but just like I can see the wobbly leg in the table that needs like fixing, like immediately in a business, or when somebody, you know what I mean? Like I said before, like stop focusing on that stuff, focus on this thing. I can see it instantaneously. But then when it is turned on the inside or on my intimate relationships or whatnot, then it's like, that's not working for me. This isn't working for me. That's not working. The detail, the detail, the detail. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that drags me down. Okay. Thank you. That's
Oh,
huge.
it's perfect because that's a perfect example of the details tame you.
Yeah. Yes. That's what made me think of that.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So the fact that you're going to experience it over and over again, right? And have the opportunity to master this.
Mhm.
Um, and then your vocation sphere over here, you see it's part red and part blue. The
Mhm.
red is called your core wound.
Ooh.
So this is not just a thing, right? The indifference is not just a challenge that you will come into contact with over and over. It's also actually a very core wound for you
Mm.
that you are here to heal
Mm.
and therefore help others heal as well.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
so it shows up in those two super important places because our vocation, our life's work is what we do in the world. So you're here to help people. Again, all of those things we said, stop worrying so much about the details. Take that next step. Focus on where your feet are. Take the next right step.
Mm.
The vocation is how you do that. This is the what, this is the how.
Mm.
Life's work is the what, vocation is the how. Let me be more clear for people listening. So the how relates to that versatility. If you don't give a shit, if you're in your indifference, you're like, I don't know. I don't know how to do any of that. That's dumb. Whatever. When you're in your gift, you're like, oh, we have 16 different ways. Here's let's look, open the toolkit. Let's see
Yeah.
what we have, right? So
Oh my God.
how you do it.
Yeah. And I have this thing called ritual roulette, right? Because
Exactly. Oh my
uh-huh,
God.
uh-huh. Because and 16's in throat, so it's speaking things. So speaking for me is really important, and speaking with enthusiasm and speaking to the versatility. And the ritual roulette means that you can, like, what do you want to do? Like, what is, of all the details, what is the one detail that's going to serve you the best? And when I'm working with people, it really helps them to know that, dude, you don't have to do the 5 a.m. club if you don't want to, but if you do, let's get you set up for success for that. But if you don't, stop it, don't do it. Like, find something else.
Right.
There's roulette, let's play roulette, let's turn the table and see where the little ball lands. And do you love doing this thing in order to support yourself? Is this the next focus? Is this the next right thing, step for you to take to, like, align yourself with what you say you want to do? And that could be anything, like stopping drinking to starting a new business. You know what I mean? Like anything in the gamut of all of it. I'm just thinking of my last couple of, few clients, like things that they were
Yeah.
like, actually, I would like to like not drink so much. It's like, okay, well then what's your first step on that one? Right.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Um,
Fun.
Beautiful. Yeah. The one thing I didn't tell you that I'm going to tell you now. So because I teed it up and then we didn't get to it. The repressive and reactive
Uh-huh.
natures for you, for all of us. Every single shadow is going to have one of these two expressions. For inertia specifically, the repressive nature is reluctant. There's an inner reluctance in the repressed side of the shadow. It manifests as our seeming inability to do anything about our situation, despite the
Mm.
fact that we understand it and can even see our way out. The reluctance to move out of one's patterns is not a conscious choice, but an inner dynamic where one's life force remains frozen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So there's the reluctance. That's the pulling in, right? The reactive nature is diverted. So these are the two things I would add to this chart for you: repressive, reluctant; reactive, diverted. The diverted nature, the reactive nature, can be highly restless and fidgety, as though nothing inside them can sit still. Their tactic is diversion, and they unconsciously seek any stimulus to draw some of their energy and fury out of their body. Naturally, such people cannot sustain this escapist pattern indefinitely, and it takes an enormous toll on their health and often their finances. They often cannot find a fixed pattern in life at all, because if they were to do so, all their rage would explode out of them. So that's the reactive nature,
Oh,
finding everything. What does anything else come up like from that?
I think that that's probably why I love drum and bass music so much because it's so like, are you familiar with drum and bass at all?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's so like blingy blongy, plinky plonky, bong bong, darn darn, ding ding, and it's got like that bass line and all those beats and blurps and blogs, and it's just like dancey, and it's just like it's chaotic in a way that allows that reactivity for me, and so it's a healthy outlet of that for me for sure. you know I think I'm pretty healthy in that way.
Yeah.
You think?
Yes.
Yeah,
Finding again,
yeah,
what you're pointing to is that the shadow is not a bad thing to avoid.
yeah.
It's a
No, no,
frequency that we experience.
yeah,
And
yes,
even the reluctant or the repressed or reactive piece of the shadow, right? That's just showing us, okay, you might be feeling this thing. This is how it might show up for you in your world. And so when like if you notice yourself just like finding something to do all the time because you just are like, "Ugh, I just got to do something." There's your orange flag again.
uh,
Here,
mhm.
let's take a pause and find
Yeah,
out what's going on.
exactly, and then channel it into something healthy, right?
Right.
So I channel it into cleaning. I'll
Right.
because that's healthy, right? Cleaning is healthy. It stimulates new energy, and it's clean. you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and also that the nine is in your sacral, right?
Mm,
So the sacral is action. The sacral is life force energy.
right.
It's sexual energy. It's everything, literally life force
Yeah.
energy. So to do, right? If you've got sacral or root, like those, all of those things there, like any gate there, movement. It wants to do something, take the step, do the thing.
Right.
Um, and so that's a piece of it. Again, that being your conscious sun is a huge, huge key of what's, we talked about this a little bit. What is your life's work?
Mhm.
What are you here to help others with? And it doesn't mean like someone else who has that exact same life's work in gate nine, it's not going to show up the same way, right? They might be a neuroscientist,
Yeah.
right? Or they might be a hockey player. You don't know. Like it can be any different job, like you said,
Mhm.
but it's still going to have that flavor
Yeah.
of getting stuck in the details. Let's
Mhm.
move. Let's move out of it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. Do you, we should start to wrap up.
Right.
Um, not like we did say before we started recording that we could talk about this for 6 hours, I think is what you said.
Yeah.
Um, so we're not going to do that yet. Um, uh, do you read these charts for people professionally?
I do. And I don't do it in a way like I don't do just like a straight up reading for someone. I don't, like we said before, I don't find that to be helpful or empowering.
Mhm.
And instead, even if I do like the minimum I have on my website, for example, if you go to expansiveceo.com, you'll see all of the ways to work with me in a coaching capacity. And I have a minimum of three set consult, right? So we need 3 different hours in order to go through like, here's an overview, what's coming up in your life, what's going to
Mhm.
be most impactful, like what we just did, right? Like, where are the key aspects of your chart that you can do something with,
Mhm.
and then move from that way. So yeah, I'm not the person, if you just want the fire hose reading, I can recommend wonderful people for that, but I'm the one when you are ready to like dig in and use it. I want to use it somewhere.
Mhm.
I want to make my business more aligned. I want to understand how and why I'm making different decisions in my life. And again, we talked a lot about gene keys today, but it's again so integrated with your human design, understanding it's in your sacral. It means move. It's in your throat. It means you got to talk it out,
Mhm.
right? It's about your expression. It's in your crown, right? This is the questions that you're answering for the world, right? We have to understand all of it together. We don't have to. I enjoy and understanding all of it together because I feel like that makes it more applicable and like put it into action.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. It's been so insightful, so fun too. Isn't it?
Absolutely.
Isn't it so cool? I mean, like you literally just like read a map. Like that's what I love about these things. It's like it's reading a map. Like you're like, okay, here's, this city, and now we're gonna drive over to that city. Like it's geography almost of
Yes, your
human.
internal geography.
Internal geography, yeah. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to loop back super, super quick on what you said at the beginning about the soul and the unconscious. And there's two ways we can look at the unconscious, right? One is like Jung's material on shadow and unconscious work, and this is and you've mentioned the word shadow, right? This is the behavior that is shaped by shame, judgment, fears.
Mhm.
So it's like it's the stuff that gets sort of like twisted almost. And what I like to describe when I'm working with people on this is like, at the very bottom of the ocean, there's all those like creepy creatures down there. And then you shine the light on them and they're like, "Rah." That's like our shadow. It's just like, "Rah." It's like this converted or reverted or whatever word you want to use. Amazingly beautiful part of ourselves that's been in the dark way too long gets shown the light, and unconsciously it's like showing light, but it's showing light in like a way that like, you don't like me, I'm going to show you in this sort of way, right? So that's one type of unconscious material. And then there's the unconscious material of our soul, which is the parts of ourselves that shine. It's the light side of it that other people can see. So when people are reflecting back to you, like, oh my God, Hannah, you're so like blah blah blah, and you're like, really? Okay, yeah, I guess I am. I didn't really think about that myself in that way, but thank you for seeing me in that way. And to others, they're like, duh. Like it's so obvious.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and that's our soul. That's like when we're really in that, where we just feel so natural and feel so lovely, you know? And I think the more we can connect with that soul part, that part that does feel so natural and so lovely, and, you know, like work through the shadow material that makes that soul part wrong in a way, or that has made that soul part wrong, and then tie on the personality on top of it, like you said, the how, you know, like, well, that's how we can allow our soul to sort of like be brought out and be totally expressed. I think that right there is just like the recipe to whatever this is that we're doing on this spinning
Yeah.
blue planet.
Yes, absolutely. And that I love the uniqueness
Mhm.
of every person, right? It's I can't remember the number. It's there are literally tens of millions of combinations
Oh yeah.
for all of these, right? There's 64 different gates and 6 lines 1 through 6 on every single gate. So you
Mm.
could be one of 64 different gates on every single piece and one of 6 different lines on every single piece. And so it just goes to show, again, how unique we are in what um our main expression in this lifetime, in this body, in this incarnation, what that looks like. But as a human, we still feel and experience all of it. Your
Mhm.
9 is just stronger than mine, and
Right.
my 4 is stronger than yours. But
Yeah.
we both have those energies and we understand them and experience them. And that's how we can learn from each other is where are you strong where I don't know that energy as well? Where am
Right.
I strong where you don't know that energy as well?
Mhm.
It's a beautiful way to see connection.
Oh my gosh, yeah, like we're all one big jigsaw puzzle.
Yes, exactly. We're all just the universe experiencing itself in
Yeah.
different ways.
Yes. Pretty much. So don't take life so seriously. Stop focusing on the small details and just
Right?
take one step forward today, okay?
What's your next thing? How do you
What's
get
your
out of
next
your
thing?
inertia?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And who do you need to forgive, and where do you need to, like, you know, drop that, you know, that hanging on to, you know, that need to be right maybe.
Right, exactly. Where are you? I didn't even tell my story of intolerance, which we don't have time for, which is fine. But
Yeah.
I really find it when I turn it on myself. I see it so clearly of like, I did something wrong. I did something wrong. My inner child just like freaks out and I feel it and I know it. And I'm like, this,
Yeah.
this is what intolerance means.
Mm, mhm.
I'm not allowed to make a mistake. I did the wrong thing. I did the wrong thing. I'm so in trouble, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry, little Hannah. You had to experience all of that.
Aw.
And
Hugs.
man, right? I know, so many big hugs for myself.
Yeah.
And it's when I really sink into that, I'm like, oh, I can have understanding so easily for others and
Mhm,
forgiveness for others in so many ways.
mhm.
And I need to give that to myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been so much fun. I do like truly, I'm like so glad we did that so that you could have an experience of what it means since you're like you don't know the gene keys very well. So that's it. There's your intro. Like a very you got me.
You got me.
You got
Um,
you got me
and
doing it. Yeah.
yeah. And to those of you watching, listening, I hope we got you um, to just think about this and be with it and get curious about it. And Hannah, where can people find you? Can you say your website again?
Absolutely. One is expansiveceo.com. That's where you'll find everything about my coaching, different programs that you can take, self study, and then how you can work with me. And then if you are wanting financial planning with all of this spiritual wonderfulness baked in, that's x2wealthplanning.com. X squared is how I pronounce it, but it's x the numeral 2 wealthplanning.com. And you can find me all over socials. You can find me at the Expansive CEO podcast as well.
Fun. Yay. Well, thank you so much for being a guest again.
Happy
I
to.
really love. Yeah, I think our episodes are really cool. Very smart and focused. So you're appealing to that for me.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And for those of you, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you listening and watching. And if there's anybody that you think could benefit from this, please share and make sure that you like and subscribe and leave a review, which helps the rankings. And if you want to learn more about working with me, you can head over to krishayoung.com. And you can also find me on all the socials. Just search up my name, Krisha Young. On Instagram, it's at the Krisha Young, because I am it. I am the only one.
Get it.
No ego here. It is
Healthy
defined.
ego,
That's okay. Yeah.
right? It's healthy.
All right, darling. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.